Hello everyone, my name is Steve Augusti, and today I'll be presenting my case study to you. And the title is Analysis of the Modigliani-Miller Theory and Capital Structure Decisions. This presentation explores one of the most influential theories in corporate finance, the Modigliani-Miller theorem, and its relevance to how firms make financing decisions. We will discuss the theory's foundations, its main strengths and weaknesses, and conclude with practical insight on how companies can balance debt and equity to maximize firm value. Overview of the Modigliani-Miller theory. The Modigliani-Miller theory, often called the M&M theorem, is a cornerstone of modern finance. It argues that in perfect capital markets, a firm's value is determined solely by its real assets and operations, not by how it's financed. In other words, the mix of debt and equity doesn't matter for firm value, assuming there are no taxes, bankruptcy costs, or information gaps. The theory has two main propositions. Proposition 1 says that a firm's value is independent of its capital structure, and Proposition 2 explains how leverage affects the required return on equity. As debt increases, equity becomes riskier and demands higher returns. There are several strong arguments that support the M&M framework. First, the separation principle. It allows companies to separate investment decisions from financing decisions. Second, the arbitrage mechanism. Investors can use personal borrowing or lending to recreate any corporate leverage, which keeps firm value consistent. And third, it keeps the focus on operational performance rather than financial engineering. In essence, what truly drives firm value is how efficiently a company runs its business, not how it finances it. Criticism of M&M. However, the Modigliani-Miller theory has serious limitations when applied to real-world markets. For one, it ignores the tax benefits of debt. Interest payment or tax deductible, which effectively lowers a firm's cost of capital. Second, bankruptcy cost. As leverage increases, so does the risk and cost of financial distress. Third, agency cost. Conflicts often arise between shareholders, managers, and creditors, which can impact value. There's also information asymmetry. Financing choices can signal management private information to the market. And lastly, market imperfections like transaction cost and varying tax rates mean capital structure definitely matters in practice. NPV and financing independence. The next question is, should we evaluate projects independent of financing? Generally, yes. Investment decisions should focus on whether projects add value, not how they're financed. Using a consistent weighted average cost of capital, or WACC, ensures fairness across all projects. However, real-world factors like financing constraints or project-specific funding, such as government grants or leasing, can influence decisions. In these cases, it's best to use adjusted present value (APV) method, which evaluates financing effects separately from project performance. Debt and equity financing. When deciding how to fund a business, firms face a trade-off between debt and equity financing. Debt offers several advantages, such as tax shields, lower cost, and no ownership dilution, but it also brings risk like reduced flexibility and potential bankruptcy. Equity, on the other hand, provides more flexibility and eliminates repayment risk, but is more expensive and dilutes ownership. The key takeaway is that no single financing method is universally better. The right mix depends on the company's risk tolerance, the growth opportunities, and financial stability. Practical implications and conclusion. To wrap up, the Modigliani-Miller theory serves as a benchmark, not a literal rule. It helps us understand that capital structure matters because the world is not perfect. Taxes, bankruptcy cost, and information asymmetry all affect value. The goal for every company is to find its optimal capital structure, the balance between debt and equity that minimizes the cost of capital while maintaining flexibility. There's no one size fits all answer. It's about aligning financing choices with the firm's strategy, industry, and risk profile. And this analysis draws key corporate finance texts, including Briley Myers and Allen's Principles of Corporate Finance. And this is the list of all the references. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the presentation. Thanks.